So we're back here with KRS-One having a very spirited discussion on being hip-hop. Let me ask you, a friend of yours, fellow writer, Adisa Banjoku,
Yes.
he wanted to really debate you on this point.
Yep.
And he felt like, when I talked to him, he's like, this is something that is too important to just have either one-sided conversation or just put out there and just keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Because the passion and type of energy that you bring to the discussion about one being hip-hop and, how you came to this conclusion about, moving beyond ethnicity, you're very passionate about, but there are a lot of people who are equally as passionate about, I got to keep this. And so it becomes an important discussion that needs to be had. It may be a discussion about, the way Booker T saw the world and way Du Bois saw the world. It may be a discussion about whether you vote or don't vote, work within the system or outside the system. What would Malcolm and Martin say at key points in their life?
But there are no blanket philosophies here. I'm only doing what God told me to do. The question is, are you doing what God told you to do? I'm doing what God told me to do. God said, tell these people they hip hop. That's how I'm inspired every day. Tell these people they're more than their race. They're more than a conqueror. They're more than an MC. They don't have to just buy CDs and be products of the corporate system. They don't have to be that. They could be entrepreneurs. They could study their own experiences and know that God is with them. They don't have to sit around and say, oh, man, if I didn't go to church, damn, I'm not with God. Them days is over. This is all I'm teaching. So how can that be refuted? How can that even be debated? A person who would debate the I am hip hop philosophy proves their ignorance right up at the top.
How's that?
Because you cannot debate a person's identity. If I'm telling you I'm a dog, you can tell me you bugging, man. You a human being. But if I'm just, no, listen, I am a dog.
Yeah. Now we're playing mind tricks.
No, we're not.
We're playing mind. No.
Am I Cassius Clay or am I Muhammad Ali? I ain't playing no games here. This is real. How you going to debate Muhammad Ali when changing his name? Right, Muhammad Ali.
So that's more of a realistic situation. But
that's how real we better take hip hop, because there ain't no retirement plan for African Americans.
You mean there's no retirement plan?
Oh, 401k is out of here. Nobody tells you. Social Security's out of here. Them cats depending on corporate America to make sure they got a retirement when they 65.
But that's not the definition of African American, dependent upon a 401k. No.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's go there.
No.
Let's go there.
No. If we're talking about people,
Howard University.
we're not talking about that. We're talking about. Don't mix apples and oranges. Don't take corporate America and the socialization that comes with that. But you are. Don't take that part where people go, I wake up, I gotta have 2-car garage, white picket fence, and all the material goods.
Wait a minute. What is black focus? What is the agenda of the?
But that's called surviving. That's called people trying to survive and using.
That's called pimping and balling.
Well, you can use whatever word, but that's
what the African American community is dealing with right now.
But we're talking. But we're not talking. But that's not part of. That's not culture, and that's not our culture. When we would strip it away, no.
African American culture is all about what you see. We can't deny it. We can't candy coat it. It is what you see. It is what you see. And what do we see? We see Colin Powell standing next to George Bush, don't we? That's African American culture. That's African American leadership, by the way. We see Clarence Thomas, don't we? But we also see Jesse Jackson, don't we? We see Al Sharpton, don't we? We see others in the African American community. By no means am I lumping everybody into the corporate world, but let's face it.
So therefore, that diversity that exists does not allow you to make that very pronounced statement that you said that all that the 401k is African American.
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that African American, the mainstream African American is putting too much stock in the American economic system, which includes Social Security, 401k, health care, education, these banking, this, that, and the other. What hip hop is proposing.
But part of the reason that happens is that, for one, people who are coming out of, struggle said, hey, this
We gonna get a piece of it.
we can get a piece of it. So that was one direction that some people took. Others said others said, we got to own our own. So that's another part of it. But at the core of that, when you strip it all away, these are just manifestations of what? How do I survive in a place that continuously, presents obstacles
Okay, there's the difference right there. I don't see the world like that. I don't see the world as a place that presents obstacles. I don't see that.
We're not talking about what you see. We're talking about what African American as a collective body of people are dealing with. So when you say 401k and you say, well, that's their thing. Well, you know what? But so it's not just unique. And that was my point. I said, you're taking what is an American phenomenon of how we're going to survive and then saying, I can go rob, I can go steal, or I can join the system and try and survive within that. You just, to make my point, using those generalities and then saying, well, that's African American. And I'm saying, well, a guy who comes here and has the privilege because maybe they're white, and they live in America, and with that privilege, comes, they're identified a certain way, so they get tracked and they're treated a certain way, they're perceived a certain way, may be very different than somebody who, has dreadlocks, is 22 years old, and is perceived as a threat day in and day out, and may have to take a different type of mentality to survive, to navigate all these situations that they're coming across.
That's why there are teachers. That's why there are ministers. That's why there are philosophers.
And as we found, a lot of people that have been presented to us have not been real teachers. Well, no, some have, but you go through it. Well,
Whoever you are, you will gravitate toward that truth. If you are an entrepreneur, you will gravitate toward the cat that's kicking that. If you are a corporate person, feel that in your blood, you will gravitate toward that. I'm saying African Americans as a group of people in this country depend too much on America. Simple and plain. We want what America got. We want to be where America is at. That's what we want as African Americans, and I would put the icing on the cake of that, and also say, what is the African American agenda? Just what is the agenda? What are we as a people trying to be?
You can't have one. Because within African American, even when we frame the question, is not acknowledging the fact that within our community there may be different people from, that we're coming from different places. We go to Africa. Africa is not just one homogenous place. There's something like 200 different languages, 53 countries, all types of different philosophies and outlooks on that. And the point that I was getting at before, when we were talking about whether you just shed the ethnicity, a lot of other groups have come to a point where you acknowledge that. Even with you first of all, you acknowledge, there's an acknowledgement that there's different ethnicities within their groups. You talk about Asian. We're sitting in the lobby, there's Asian, but which Asian? We just don't go to Asian. We've been trained and oriented in this country, even people who are oppressed as we have been, collectively speaking, to look and go, well, they may be Japanese, they may be Filipino, they may be Korean, they may be all these things. Even when we look at, say, people of our Latino, are they Native, are they Mexican, are they Salvadorian, all these different things. With us, which is black, and we haven't even looked to see that, is there some real cultural differences, some cultural makeup that may make you see the world one way and move in a certain direction with a certain energy and rhythm, going back to your quantum physics, that may be very different. And I think, somebody was pointing this out when they talked about what goes on, say, like up in the Bay. People are hyphy and they this, you come down to LA, they're clowning and crumping. Yeah, you can lump it and say it's dance, and society will say that's just black people dancing, period, and never look to see that these, what may be subtle differences to somebody outside the community, may be major differences to the people that live within it. We're hustle in the Bay, you gangbang in the South. You know, very different cultures, but somebody might just go, well, they're all bad. You know what I'm saying? And so the point that I'm getting at is that I think a lot of us would do good to even just explore that type of diversity and learn to embrace it and learn how to engage it and work with it and do all these different types of things that I think would be healthy when we are able to comfortably acknowledge that sort of existence which has come to define us. We never had that luxury. We're always lumped into the same thing. So we have this discussion like we all need to be on the same page when really nobody around the world is on the same page. You know, nobody gets all along. You know, so yeah, maybe you being hip hop in Adisa, for example, you know, if, you know, being where he's at, maybe two very different. I don't know. I'm not going to argue on his behalf. That's a debate y'all will have to have. But I'm just saying that I'm just using that to make the point that as human beings, going back to your original point, we do have these differences of opinions. We do exist in these various shades of gray, and that should be allowed for people to develop and come to.
Well, what if you're already developed?
We're ever fully developed.
I am.
Okay.
I'm fully developed, straight up, in what I am. I am that I am. This is me, complete, perfect, and whole right now before you. I've mastered my craft. Now, what do? I'm not trying to find God. God is with us right now, talking with us, right now. There's an empty seat right over there for God. What do we do right now? If you're already walking with God, you're already rich, you already got your family, been married 14 years, you're already doing what do you do at that point? Do you still talk about, well, you know, we got to try to hold on to our 401 or our securities in the future? No, you're going to tell your people, look, I dropped out of high school because they was talking that nonsense. I went to the library, read up some books.
You have made it, so you can sit there and say that.
Others have too.
But we got to talk about But here's the thing: is one thing when you have, or we perceive you to have, a comfort in which you could do it. Somebody who's comfort, economic comfort. It's very different. It's one thing to say that. It's another thing when somebody's going, I got 2 kids to raise, single parent, and I got some aging parents.
So no.
Let me show you
how to get out of that. Let me show you how to get out of that. I'm not going to sit there and let you tell me you got this, that, and the other. And I know how to get you out.
Then how do you get out of that?
Okay. First, you have to check.
Single parent.
Right.
2 kids.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Dead end job.
Right.
Kids are too young.
Yep.
Father ain't there or mother's not there.
Right.
Aging parents. This is a phenomenon that we talked about. People that's hitting that 40, they're looking there going, whoa. $1 million homes if you want to buy a decent house in the Bay. So you're barely making it. So now, how do you get out of it?
Well, first of all, how old is this person? How old is this woman?
Let's say they're 35 to 40.
Okay. First of all, I'd write a book about my aggravating, pathetic situation.
Chris, are you telling somebody?
Yeah, write a book. The first thing you do if
you were taking have you taken care of 2 kids by yourself?
No.
See, that's what I'm saying.
But
have you worked? Have you worked? Have you worked a 40-hour week job?
I would never put myself in that position.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people wake up. They'll get up at 6.
Then free yourself. Get knowledge. Knowledge reigns supreme. You can learn your way out of your situation.
You know, people are throwing bricks at the radio right now, Chris.
No, they not.
Yes, they are.
Let's get your single parent out of her house right now. I'm gonna tell you how she's gonna do it right now. First of all, that woman. If there's 2 roads to take. First,
you said write a book, and I'm saying, have you worked 9 to 5
right.
and taken care of kids?
Right.
Man,
then take a half hour before you go to sleep. You put your kids to bed, and before you go to sleep, you take a half hour and you write down one more page of your book. If it takes you a year, it's a year. If it takes you 6 months, 6 months, 6 years, 6 years. Stay steadfast with your book. Write about your situation. This is the ancient theory right here. Ancient techniques, not even a theory because it's already worked. I got a Lincoln Continental and a sunroof Cadillac. Now, did them cats have that when they wrote that song? Not at all. But they saw themselves in it first. Then they wrote about themselves as that, and it became true for them. That song is called Rapper's Delight. It's the first rap record in our, the first major rap record in our history. We got to use these principles.
With rhymes taken from H-Rap Brown.
Exactly.
So they didn't necessarily view themselves that way because they were reciting somebody else's rhymes.
Well, that's a deeper part of the history. If you get technical, maybe Grandmaster Caz was thinking that way, or H-Rap Brown was thinking that way. But even more, actually, you bring my point even harder home because H-Rap Brown was thinking that way. And see, that's where we got to get back to. What was the faith? And this is the next level that I would bring to the sister that may be listening right now. What is your level of faith? Faith. You don't need no money for no faith. You don't need nothing. All you got to do is believe in yourself. If you can't believe in yourself, believe in your God. And I would put it in that order because God loves you. So why are you loving God? You should be loving what God is loving, which is yourself. If you want to walk with God, walk with God. I'll put it this way. If my sciences and philosophies are not real, it would affect my life as such. If I am not the master of my craft called MCing, my philosophies of life would affect my craft as such. But you don't see KRS slacking nowhere and in nothing. As a matter of fact, I may be coming to a town near you to rip the back off of any true hip-hopper that decides to show up. So what do? I'm not here to hide my sciences. I'm going to show you how to do it. We got to think higher of ourselves. We got to think more of ourselves than this race thing, than this ethnicity thing. And hip-hop offers us a way out. We can build a brand new civilization today. Could you imagine a new civilization?
So does all that stuff that people, does all that stuff go out the window? Why is that?
No.
It's
first grade. It's first grade. We're talking right now maybe in high school. You're looking at KRS getting ready to graduate high school. I'm coming up on my 40th birthday. I'm graduating high school in the school of life. I'm getting ready to go to college right now.
All that stuff is irrelevant now.
No, it's not irrelevant. You have to learn ABC before you can before you can write a book. You got to learn how to, say ABCs. Before you do algebra, you got to learn plus. 2 + 2 is 3. No, that's what that was. Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. It does. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. Those are facts. But then KRS-One continued and studied on and learned that even Shem had to be connected to the one high God, the most high God. Even when we talk about African people, we talk about not all African people, but a certain group or a certain person in the African ancient history that was connected to something way deeper than the physical. So this is what I'm pointing to. I'm pointing to the intangibles of life, principles, virtues, spirit, mind, consciousness. These are the things I think hip-hop should be moving towards. And let me tell you, I'm already in 2020, the year 2020. I don't come from my past. I come from my future. So I've already come from 2020 and I've landed in 2005, and I'm laughing at these cats that are now laughing at me. Because today you laugh. Today you say, what the hell is Chris talking about? 2005. But those that have any trust, and I will add this to this, trust. I have never done anything wrong to the hip-hop community. I've never been caught stealing, cheating, lying, this, that, and the other. People, I may be contradictory. You may say, man, Chris go from one thing to another. Sure I do, because I'm growing up. I'm living. I'm going to try everything, anything. Every day is a classroom for me. So one day, I may eat a pork sandwich.
Really? You going to eat pork? after you did a song like Beef?
Well, it would get it would get me sick though. It would really get me sick. I can't really do it. But philosophically, in my mind, I would. Okay. And you know what? And yes, after doing a song like Beef, you know why? Because Beef is even a first grade record. Sure, Beef will kill you. I hope y'all listening to me. But if you're eating a hamburger right now, it is more important that you eat it in faith. If you eat the burger in faith, you'll live longer than a vegetarian that doubts. That's what I'm talking about. Lettuce will kill a doubter faster than a burger will kill a believer. If you're eating a hamburger right now, it is more important that you eat it in faith. If you eat the burger in faith, you'll live longer than a vegetarian that doubts. That's what I'm talking about. Lettuce will kill a doubter faster than a burger will kill a believer.
KRS-One, man.
And it's Davey D that draws this spirit out of me every time. I can't even front. Because you're right, I am passionate about hip-hop and as a culture and about civilization, because I see the jewel in that. I see you're Mark. No less than Mark, Matthew, Luca, John. You're documenting the genesis of what is going to be a world culture in 100 years. Whether anybody else believes that or not, I could care less. I've done the research. I know the truth, and I see it already. Now, I don't want to be that arrogant about it. What I'll say is I'm having patience. I will take any debate on. I will debate. But Adisa, by the way, just to say this, just here, but by the way, the one reason why I didn't want to take Adisa's debate is because the style in which it came. And I mentioned that in my memo response to him, the style in which it came, Adisa knows me. He knows I've been preaching this philosophy since '95. And to now want to call me out publicly, you could have sent me a private email. You know Simone's email address. You could have just hit me right over there and said, yo, we should debate this. I would have easily, let's do this, man. And, but you're going to go on the internet and challenge KRS to a debate. First of all, he immediately has me drawing my pistol because I'm in the public now. So now you're raising up, you're starting a distraction. If you wanted to debate, we could have just debated it. We could have debated it with coffee and tea somewhere at a Starbucks. Why do we have to debate it publicly? The public ain't even up to us yet. We are 20 years ahead of our public. That's how I know, not 20, more like 10 realistically. We're like 10 years ahead of our entire public. And I know this. And so why would we tell the public something that which they don't understand? They're going to get them botched up, messed up. No, the public just realized rap is something you do. Hip hop is something you live. That took us 10 years just for hip hop as a culture. Wait a minute. For the rap music industry to finally recognize that hip hop is a lifestyle and a culture, like they'll actually accept it as that. Still, the argument rages on that it's not, but I see more and more people coming around the table saying, yeah, culture, lifestyle. Well, that took us 10 years of straight debate and argument trying to build this as we go along. Dr. Martin Luther King, in one of his speeches, it was so passionate. I felt his heart because he said, here I am trying to save black people from this beast that is out there called injustice. And it's the black folk that I get the most resistance from. That's that's Dr. Martin Luther King, the prophet, Dr. Martin Luther King. If he went through that with African Americans, I am not even fit to tie his shoes. You think I give two shits about these Negroes? I'm gonna follow my God. Yo, these people better wake up. Look, we doing what we doing. And as I'm saying, it's called templeofhiphop.org. No, we ain't no cult. You ain't got to worship Chris to be here. You ain't even really got to give us no money. It ain't even really about that. But if you serious about hip hop, this is the place to be because we're not siding up with this one, that one. The same way they do hip hop and R&B. That's what you got, the Christian hip hop. Jews, the Jewish, we've been had Jewish hip hop from back in the days. I forgot the guys.
Blood of Abraham.
The blood of Abraham. Hip hop is so magnificent. We had Muslims, Jews, and Christians all rocking in our culture at the same time. And nobody wants to give us respect for that. And why is that? Because we're still not looked at as a distinct group of people. And let me tell you, you know how we all get rich? When we see ourselves as a culture.
can't be looked at as a distinct group because people participate in these expressions and they come from different outlooks. Like I was sitting there talking to one of the sisters that's here. You know, she's a Republican. I'm like, well, you know, is that hip hop? She said she likes George Bush. I'm like, she got I Am Hip Hop shirt on. And so the point is that one may argue that if it's a culture that represents the voiceless and it tries to fight oppression and that it came out of a struggle for conditions that are represented by policies of a George Bush, then that's where you get tricky when you come in and say, hey, you know, I like the guy at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, I'm hip hop. And then you're going, well, the reason why this thing came up in the first place was to fight those types of policies that he was representing to this day, you know, and even more so. And so then the question becomes, well, you just coming in here because you like the rap? Or are you coming in here because you really about the lifestyle and maybe resolving some of the very real issues that spawned the expression in the first place? And that's where I come back to it, Chris. You got to acknowledge that this was born out of pain and suffering. And these expressions, these things, all this stuff at its core, because when you would know as an MC, being a former MC, when you on that mic and you get into that zone, you're going to a spirit. You know, you're literally talking in tongues. If you're sitting here doing your moves on the floor, that is spirit. And that is all the way connected to that spiritual desire that people had way back when these dances and these movements, which we see are not unique. They've been in existence. At the same time they was doing this in New York, cats was rapping and doing some sort of wordplay and trying to connect. Everywhere in every state in the country where there was a hood, we just, as you know, in the 70s we didn't call it hip hop,
Right.
But it didn't mean right. But I'm saying, but it did not mean those expressions weren't in existence. Right. And so if those expressions were, I mean, those expressions were in existence all over the place, right, then that means that.
But not together as breaking, MCing, graffiti.
No, we put a name on it. We put a name on it.
That's what makes us distinct.
No, because there's always
original.
No, there's always been a dance connected to vocal expression. Whether you go back to the big band with Cap Calloway, what were they doing at that time? Lindy Hop, Jitterbug, all that stuff, right? If you want to go down south in 77, what were they doing in D.C.? They was doing go-go, they was playing drums, and they had a dance to go along with. In fact, I think you had the bus stop and all kind of stuff.
But what is go-go?
Well, go-go. We could say go-go is
in comparison to what you're saying now. Isn't go-go what Fat Albert was doing back in the 70s? No. And then even with somebody else may have been doing.
Go-go is that expression just twisted in a different way, because in New York you're gonna have that expression that we now call hip hop show up one way, meaning like if you're in a city like New York, you're gonna have certain intonations in your vocals. You're going to have maybe a certain type of dance style that you're going to flip on that is going to be something that just personifies the New York experience. But 3,000 miles away, you're going to have those same expressions, maybe with a different name. So you have funk bands in the West. Right. You have people strutting and popping, not spinning on their back because brothers like, I ain't going to get my suit dirty.
Distinct. That is a distinct collective consciousness that is permeating across America that's called hip-hop.
Now we call it hip-hop, but I'm saying, but those are African expressions manifesting for a particular...
But it's not African expression. We're back to that now.
No, but why did these expressions show up with the urgency and the energy that they did? And I'm saying that
on that.
Okay. I'm saying you tell me your theory if it's different, but I'm saying it's coming out of pain. It's coming out of a need to express.
I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it. I think that's a big part of it, but not the whole piece. I think it's pain, yes, but it's also a happiness, a joy, a search for your real self. There's a when you MC, you are you. There's no mistaking about it. You are being you. Even when you're talking, you're not even being you, because you got to watch your language. You got to watch what you say. You got to know who you're talking to. You're trying to convey a point. You're trying to do this. But when you MCing, you. The same thing with say b-boy and b-girl and popping or locking. You see when they go through the moves and their arms, they start look like snakes on their arms. There's a real energy that's going through your body that's making you jolt and pop and go like that
and all that stuff. But the point is,
that's distinct.
Right? Yes, it's this.
That's distinct. Ain't nobody doing what we doing. Nobody else in the world doing what we're doing. Yes, our elements have been here since the beginning of time.
And the movement, and those movements have. So you know, so when you're sitting there, well, no, I disagree. I think
who else is doing hip hop?
We can have a whole nother 90-minute debate.
Come on, man, you got a digital record. Who's doing it? Ain't nobody doing. Ain't nobody rapping, breaking, doing graffiti or DJing or beatboxing. Just as the art. Ain't nobody doing that. Chinese.
But you would say yourself that it's not limited to that.
No, it's not.
Right. So therefore,
no, it's not.
So therefore, in every hood around America,
yes,
you had people with a dance.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did they spin on their backs and do footworks in every city?
Right.
No.
Right.
You know, they strutted in the West. Right. They did Jack in Your Body in Chicago. They did something else down south.
Maybe that wasn't hip hop.
Well, we didn't call it hip hop when those expressions were
exactly.
exist. So that was called hip hop. We're going to take away the name. We're just going to look at the expression, because the name is.
Wait a minute. The name is our political blanket. The name is our.
We put that name to those things.
Right. And
no, not into the 80s. But right. Okay, so these expressions were around, and these practitioners were around, and we didn't all sit around a room and say, "This is it."
And so was George Washington, and you know my theory. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, they were around as Englishmen before America's birth. But nonetheless, we have America. We have to create a new civilization today. Today, if we don't create a brand new culture.
Well, going back to your Thomas Jefferson theory, they called themselves Americans, and there's a lot of people that's going, "You took my land."
That's real.
You know, that if this was America,
right,
we don't consider you America. We consider you invaders.
Right.
You know, it's like somebody showing up, you know, to another city, they're stepping into the South Bronx and saying this is Compton.
Right.
It's not, you know, and vice versa. But, you know, but not to go down that road.
Wait. Let's just go down the avenue, maybe not the whole road. But this points to the expansion of consciousness and the need, the urgency to expand consciousness. Of course, you're absolutely correct. The Native Americans across this land, all the tribes can definitely argue, no, you're not American. We've been here. This is what it is. That is blanket history. However, why do we still celebrate Thanksgiving then? If this is the point, now this is where I would direct hip-hop to right here, right now. Forget all the rhetoric about the philosophy and this, that, and the other. If we all agree that the birth of America began with the pillage of another nation, and Thanksgiving as a federal holiday points to that massacre, points to that genocide, why would hip-hoppers go and get a turkey on that day and celebrate Thanksgiving? Why can't we do something more like, why don't we take a federal holiday in protest? Why don't we take Thanksgiving from America simply by renaming it, repositioning our consciousness around it, and call it, say, Peace Day?
That would just be somebody who was human and believes in social justice and liberty for all those and correcting past wrongs. That would do that, and that's not unique to somebody who wants to put this blanket hip hop. So I think.
So why we don't have it?
Well, I think it comes down. There are people that do that.
Not even with us, hip hop.
Well, I think individuals.
Could you imagine if all hip hop said we are not celebrating Thanksgiving? The day that is, we're all out of school. We're gonna celebrate Cool Herc Day.
Something. But the point is that you're gonna have that diversity. You're gonna have people who are going to adhere to spiritual understanding to the full nine. They're going to adhere to their spiritual understanding to the full nine, and you're going to have people who are going to do what most people do as human beings. I got a day off. I'm going to get my turkey, and they're going to have a rationale behind it, and they're going to keep it moving, and having the cake and eat it too. A human thing, and you're going to have that within people who wear this blanket of hip hop.
Yes, indeed. Everyone in Judaism is not orthodox.
Right. Thank you. So that's the point that I'm making.
Right.
It's a human thing. So you just
wait. I understand your point, but let me be clear with mine. Now, just because you don't agree, or not you, but the person does not agree that hip-hop is a distinct culture, does not mean that we are not. Because still, you cannot argue with a person about their identity of themselves. You cannot tell me who I am. I am the only one that can tell you who I am. And whether you think I'm lying or I don't know or I'm crazy, all of that may be your opinion and so on. But the truth, according to natural law, according to universal law, according even to civil law in some areas, I am that I am. I am telling you who I am. You're not telling me who I am. And that's the power that hip-hop offers every hip-hopper. You don't have to be black, white, Asian, Native American. You can be all of it. And let me say this at the end of it. You, Mr. D, Davey D, I would say you are a true hip-hopper. And here's why. Not to blow smoke somewhere, and not to gas you. But while I have you in your face right here, right now, I'll say this, that you have a clear and sharp understanding of where we're going. Whether you want to get there or not, or as fast as, as I may want to go, is another thing. But as long as you exist, this is what gives me the confidence that hip hop will never go astray and forget its roots. Because you are hip hop. You are that piece that says, no, we hanging on to Africa, and we are African Americans, or we black, but we going to stay with the civil rights. We going to hail up this Martin Luther King, this Marcus Garvey, this Malcolm X, this Harriet Tubman. We going to do that. And you know what? I can't front on you at all. There's no way, whatsoever. I can't front. I am in the African American skin. No question about it. However, to understand KRS-One is to understand someone who is not from their past, someone who is from their future. And if we are to lead, I hold myself out as a leader. If we are to lead, we have to have an agenda, principles, a clear, concise direction as to where we are going. Here's hip-hop's agenda: health, love, awareness, and wealth. If we can achieve these four things in our politics, forget all this other stuff. The radio ain't playing my record. Forget that. Do you have health? And how do we get healthy? We need to, be more linked up with the CDC, American Medical Association. Get that health care jumping off. Health. Just health. You can't do nothing. Don't even think about spending no money if you ain't got no health. We need to deal with our health. It's our first wealth. Love. Ain't no love between hip hoppers. I would make love a political agenda. See, politicians can't go here with me. Love and forgiveness is a political agenda. If I had a police force, which is what hip hop would probably have soon, if I was controlling a police force, not only would tickets be given out for those who violated the law, but tickets would be given out for those who upheld the law. And if you had enough tickets when you got before the court, that was your character reference. You did this, that, and the other, but when you got before the judge, you threw your tickets of Good Samaritan down, and it's by law you supposed to be let go for the amount of tickets you might have and so on. Because in America these days, we need to prove who is a citizen and who is not. And a social security card and a birth certificate or a driver's license don't do it anymore. What does it now is, what are your principles? What are your interests? What are you really here for? Me, I used to be a flag burner. Let's start it right there. Flag burner. And matter of fact, I still am. However, I grew up. I'm 40 now. I don't have the same argument I had when I was 20. I have a new argument. What's my new argument? America is one of the greatest countries on the earth. Remember what I said. One of. the greatest countries on earth, greatest nations on earth. And one of the reasons America is one of the greatest nations on earth is because it produced me. Now, if I am sitting here in the United States and can say anything I want, anything, the laws of this country says that technically I'm supposed to be able to say anything I want, and can't nobody say nothing. And you mean to tell me that in ancient times, universal law says the power of life and death are in the tongue. You speak your existence every day, and this country gives this right to every citizen, say whatever you want. And when we open our mouth, we like, yo, these niggas and these bitches and these hoes and these this and that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to come back off the flag burning real quick, and I have to look at that flag in a different light and say, wait a minute, it might not be the flag that's smothering you. It may be you trying to, you're headed for self-destruction. So I may take a Republican or conservative view on this. I'm not Republican. I ain't joined no clique yet. But these views are conservative. I know the conservatives are probably clapping right now but I'm not conservative, so don't clap too long. But the truth is still the truth. In this country, a man can do whatever he wants. Now, when I was 20, I didn't give two hoots about that. I was worried about the cop beating me over my back and why I couldn't walk in the trade center like everybody else. That's what I was worried about at 20. And I was supposed to be like that at 20, 25, 26, going into 30. I was protesting. We doing the Pan-African. We out there with Kwame Ture, fighting for Nelson Mandela, writing records about the CIA. You know my history. I laid mine down in the 20s, but now I'm 40. Not that I punked up, not that I sold out, not that I even changed my mind, but that I got wiser. And with that wisdom, I can now show my younger 20-year-olds, check it out, dude, that's a trap. Don't get caught up in that. That's a trap. This right here is the truth. If only me, Poor Righteous Teachers and X-Clan did this, what you're about to do. If only me and Public Enemy and Queen Latifah got together and did this, what you're about to do. If only I gave that money here and not to the National Urban League like you are about to do. If only these things that's eldership. This is where hip hop is going. This is the agenda: health, love, awareness, and wealth. Because with that, we achieve BAM's vision, which is peace, love, unity, and having fun. You're not going to have peace. You're not going to have love. You're not going to have no unity. And you ain't going to have no fun if you don't have health, love, awareness, and wealth in your heart, mind, and spirit. That's our agenda.
Blastmaster KRS-One, man. Covered a lot of ground. Appreciate it.
Davey D hanging out at the late night hour.